We are ready to proceed. Mr. Brissett, Mr. Gill.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the defense calls Aaron Dean.
Mr. Dean, come up. Solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this cause will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the true self of God.
I do.
Have a seat. Mr. Brissett.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, can you state your name for the record?
Aaron York Dean.
Aaron, you and I had a conversation. You and I and Jim had a conversation about you testifying at your trial, correct?
Yes, we did.
I explained to you that you don't have to testify under the Constitution, and we could arrest it right behind the state. You understood that?
Yes.
And you understand that once you hit the witness stand, you're treated like any other witness, and that these prosecutors are liable to ask you some tough questions.
Yes.
Isn't it true, we also talked about the fact that you choose to testify, that you could get nervous, scared, upset, all sorts of things during cross-examination or during direct.
Yes.
And knowing all that, you still wish to testify.
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because this jury needs to hear from me and hear the truth.
Aaron, how old a man are you?
38 years old.
Without a specific address, did you grow up around here?
Yes, I did.
Where?
In Arlington, Texas.
Mom and Dad still with us?
Yes.
Do you have any siblings?
I have 5 siblings.
How many brothers, how many sisters?
2 sisters and 3 brothers.
Out of the group, where are you in the pecking order?
Second oldest.
Where did you attend K through 8 or K through high school?
I was homeschooled through high school.
By your mother?
Yes.
Did you go to college at some point?
Yes. The University of Texas at Arlington.
For TCU folks like me, we call that UTA.
Yes.
What did you study at UTA?
I have a major in physics and a minor in mechanical engineering.
What's a major in physics?
Bachelor of Science in physics.
Okay. So, what is that? What did you learn? What's physics all about?
Well, physics is the fundamental.
Objection to relevance, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Do you have an engineering degree?
I have a minor in mechanical engineering. Yes.
Prior to joining the Fort Worth Police Department, did you go into a profession that required you to use your college degree from UTA?
I'm going to object again, Your Honor, to relevance.
Let's just get to what his degree, what he did.
Did you go to work somewhere before you went? Did you start your professional career in something other than law enforcement?
Yes, I was an engineer at a commercial refrigeration plant here in the area.
At what year did you join? What age were you when you started to apply for the Fort Worth Police Department?
32, 33, right in there.
What's the application process like?
The department sends a request for new officers. You apply, you go through there's a lengthy backgrounds process, there's interviews with detectives in the backgrounds unit, drug tests, all manner of, you go through a polygraph, there's a physical test, we have to run an obstacle course, and there's a lot of steps to this.
Did you get accepted, I assume, at the academy?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember when that academy class that you ran started?
August of 2017.
And how long was your academy class approximately?
About 8 months.
You got to listen to Officer Darch testify last week. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And was Officer Darch in your academy class?
she was.
What Carol explained last week then is a similar experience that you had while you were in the academy?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to learn about police procedures and laws?
Yes.
Did you have weapons training?
Yes.
Are there topics taught during your academy class on police survival?
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
We call it Officer Survival School. It's a week-long process where we go through scenarios, and in those scenarios, there's someone with a simulated weapon. We use simunitions, which is a small paintball cartridge that goes in a similar firearm to the duty weapon, knives, other deadly weapons, and you interact with folks, with the role players in these scenarios. Sometimes they're compliant, sometimes not.
Part of your weapons training, you were trained on a particular version of a Glock that the city of Fort Worth ultimately issued you when you were sworn in as a peace officer. Is that correct?
Yes.
There was testimony last week about the standard issue, and then if you wanted to add any additional approved lights to a Glock, you could do that if it was blessed by the department. Am I understanding that right?
Yes.
Did you put the light on after the academy or during the academy?
After graduation.
Did you have to show your proficiency in unholstering the light rail combo with the gun in addition to your normal proficiency you had during the academy with the gun by itself?
Yes, there is light training.
And were you cleared to carry the weapon as it was the night of this offense with a light rail system on it?
Yes.
Was the holster, there was questions last week about your holster, was the holster you had approved by the department to be on your duty belt?
Yes.
Part of your training at the academy, did you receive training on simulated towns or cities or streets or buildings as part of your training?
Yes.
Fort Worth's new training academy has a scenarios that they've adopted from the military to give a realistic feel of what people may be going into. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
And is this where you did the simunition training of shoot, don't shoot during survival week?
Yes.
In addition to the shoot, don't shoot survival training, did you also have training on a regular basis at the academy once you were issued your weapon at the firing range?
Yes.
What sorts of drills did you cover at the firing range?
Fort Worth's range is set up so that there are a number of targets that face you or come edge on, and that's your shoot, no shoot signal when it edges or faces. And from various ranges, various distances from those targets, you fire certain numbers of rounds.
What are the ranges that you're required to be proficient at to be certified as a Texas peace officer?
Drills go everywhere from 1.5 yards to 50 yards.
And you would have to qualify with your Glock that you had that night at those ranges, is that correct?
Yes.
Range is probably a bad word. Those distances at the range.
Yes.
During your time at the academy, did you and Officer Darch, did you get to practice some of these drills together when you're in the survival classes or in the other parts of the training where you're acting as a team?
Yes, we were on some scenarios together.
At some point, did you take the final tests, both at the state level and for the department, and were you cleared to leave the academy?
Yes.
After graduation, you go immediately, if I understand, right back into an in-service class for a couple weeks?
Yes, that's correct.
And what is that class all about?
The state of Texas requires a continuing education program for peace officers, and it consists of, when you're excuse me, when you're at that level, it consists of about 40 hours of training.
After that in-service, are you immediately cut to the streets by yourself?
No, there's a field training program.
What's that all about?
For about 5 months, you ride alongside other officers, multiple other officers, and work calls with them, and they grade your performance and critique what you've done and give you tips on how to do things better.
Are you working days, nights, or a combination thereof?
Combination of all of them.
Where did you do your field training at with respect to the divisions in the city?
East Division and Central Division.
During your time with a field training officer, did you have an opportunity to respond to different priority levels of calls within the city of Fort Worth?
Yes.
Is it safe to assume that as part of your training at the academy, you learned how to use the mobile data computer that's in the car?
Yes.
Is there an acronym for that?
Yes.
What is it?
MDC.
And were you given training on the radio system at the city of Fort Worth for the police department?
Yes.
The night of October the 12th, you had how many radios available to you?
2.
Where were they located?
One was in my vehicle, the other was on my duty belt.
And the car or vehicle, were you in a car or a SUV? What were you in that night?
It was a Charger.
Is that a car?
It's a car.
What is your understanding of the difference between a priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 call in the city of Fort Worth?
Priority 1 is a very high priority call. Usually someone's in danger. Something's actively going down. Someone's in danger. Priority 2, don't dilly-dally, but you don't have to run code. Priority 3, we'll take care of that when we can.
What does code mean to you, Mr. Dean?
Code, shorthand for code 3, it means lights and sirens.
You've heard some extensive talk about general orders in the city of Fort Worth in the last week, have you not?
Yes.
As part of your academy class, are you supposed to memorize every page of the general orders?
No.
What are you supposed to have upon graduation?
A working knowledge of the general orders.
At the time of this incident, you were what is known as TCOL certified to be a Texas peace officer, correct?
Yes.
Much like we heard from the communications call taker, she was TCOL certified for her role, correct?
Yes.
Are those tests in addition to tests the city of Fort Worth gives in Charlotte?
Yes.
Did you take and pass the statewide TCOL certification test to be a peace officer?
I did.
And am I safe to assume that Fort Worth was the only city carrying your commission at the time?
Yes, it was.
As part of your understanding and working knowledge of the general orders and the communication system in Fort Worth, at the time you went through the academy, signals were still prevalent for how they dispatch stuff, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
There are different numbers assigned to different types of calls. Is that a safe assumption?
Yes.
You have heard the term Signal 56 in this trial, have you not?
Yes.
What is a Signal 56 to a Fort Worth police officer back in October of 2019?
The Signal 56 is an open structure call.
And what at the time was your understanding for how that call needed to be processed or handled? Priority 1, 2, or 3?
It's a priority 2 call.
We've heard testimony that the city's divided into divisions and into beats. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall back on the night of October 11th going into the 12th what your beat was?
Yes.
What was it?
Baker 15.
What did Baker 15 roughly entail?
I-35 over to almost 287 on the east side, north to Rosedale and south to Berry.
In addition to a beat designation, did you also, your charger or you yourself, get assigned a call sign for the radio?
Yes.
What are call signs used for?
It's a specific identifier for a specific officer.
Is that how dispatch keeps up with y'all?
Yes.
The night of October 11th, when you went on shift, what time was that?
About 7:45 p.m.
Are you the same call sign each and every night?
Yes.
What was your call sign that night?
Baker 325.
Do you remember what Officer Darch's call sign was?
Baker 321.
So though you may be in a beat of, I think it's B15, is that correct?
Yes.
Your call sign doesn't, the numbers don't match up perfectly, do they? Where you have a 3 series for your call sign.
The first number is the shift, so third shift. The second number is the team, second team, and then the last number is the beat number.
What's third shift to the city of Fort Worth back in 2019 when you were employed?
It's roughly 8 to 6. 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
When you got to work on Friday night, October the 11th, what was the weather like, if you recall?
It was cold.
Had a front come through?
Yes.
From the time you finished your FTO to the night of Friday, October 11th, approximately how long had you been on the streets by yourself at that point, if you had?
A little over a year.
When did you finish your FTO, do you remember?
Yes.
When was that?
September 1st, 2018.
You go to duty that night, do you have, in the military they call it a quartermaster, you have a distinctive uniform on that night, correct?
Yes.
How does it work for the city of Fort Worth? Do you have to buy your uniforms, or are you given your uniforms?
You're given 2 pairs of shirt and pants. There is an approved list then, and an approved list of vendors. So an approved list of items and an approved list of vendors, and then you have to go purchase after that.
Coach Whittisher?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dean, I'm going to show you what's been marked and admitted as Defense 28. Is that how you looked on the going to work on the night of October 11th, 2019?
Yes.
The watch cap,
Is that something that was on the approved list for you to wear that day?
Yes.
And what does the watch cap have on the front of it?
In silver letters, silver lettering, it has the letters FWPD.
Is that an acronym for something?
Yes.
What's that an acronym of?
Fort Worth Police Department.
The jurors have had a chance to be in the building the last couple of weeks and see officers. We see officers in public. There's different ways to wear Kevlar at the city of Fort Worth at the sheriff's department. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
By the time you went through the academy, it's pretty much understood you have to wear Kevlar if you're going to be an officer, correct?
Yes.
What are the different ways that you can wear as a patrol officer at Fort Worth Kevlar?
There's a vest that straps on under your uniform shirt, and there's one that goes on over the uniform shirt.
On the night of October 11th, which configuration did you have?
I had the inner vest, the one that goes inside the uniform shirt.
So as Officer Darch testified last week in her Class A uniform, that's a similar type top that you had on that's in that exhibit, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And you had your badge that was your number, your badge number, affixed to your front of your pocket on the left-hand side, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a place where that goes through? Is it stitched into the shirt where you pin it on the same place each time?
Yes.
If you look at the exhibit in front of you, it also appears to have a nameplate on your right-hand side, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that made out of a reflective metallic material as well?
Yes.
Anything wrong with how that's depicted? That's how you were that night, correct?
It is.
The night, October 11th, 2019, going into Saturday morning, early hours Saturday morning, the incident that we're here to talk about in trial, this wasn't the only call for service you had worked that night, correct?
No.
How does an officer, once you put your uniform on, do you put it on at the station? Do you go to a station? How's that shift start?
There are options. Officers can put their uniform on at home and come in dressed, or they can dress at the station.
Which did you do that night?
I dressed at the station.
And just roughly, where was your station that night? Where did you go from?
It's at Hemphill and Magnolia.
Across from Paris Coffee Shop?
Yes.
Do you, is there a roll call still? Is that, we see it on TV, is there still roll calls at departments?
Yes.
You take a roll call briefing and then what happens?
Then you go out and find a car, and then start your shift. Go take calls.
You have to log into the computer,
Yes.
and it's based on your login that's unique to you, they know where your call sign is for the night.
Yes.
How does an officer such as yourself on patrol on third shift in the central district get calls?
They're dispatched over the radio or through the computer, usually both.
When you're dispatched to a call, do you consider that an order?
Yes.
You're ordered to go take care of something.
Yes.
I laid a second exhibit up there, Aaron, when I went up there. Can you tell me what the defendant number is?
29.
Defendant's 29, that's some shorthand, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Is defendant's 29 the information that you received to dispatch you to a certain location?
Yes.
What was the address of that dispatch?
1203 East Allen Avenue.
Do they tell you what priority level call it is as part of your dispatch or what you can see on the MDC?
Yes.
And if it, not this one, but if it was a priority one call, that's what gives you the permission to turn your lights and sirens on, correct?
Yes.
The department has procedures for how all that takes place.
Yes.
Priority two, you know there's got to be a second officer, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you see who's going to be your assist when you're assigned the call, or how do you go about learning that if you do it all before you get there?
There's a couple ways. One will be the dispatcher will call it out over the radio. If they don't assign someone immediately, sometimes another officer calls up and says, so-and-so, I'll go with them. Or it's dispatched directly onto the computer, and you can see who's going along with you.
Do you recall this night whether it was the dispatch ordered to, or did somebody volunteer to go with you?
Officer Darch called out, Baker 321, I'll go with him.
So that assigns her to the case, to the call sheet as well, is that correct?
Yes.
When you, did you make it right to the residence?
No.
Who arrived first?
Officer Darch did.
Mr. Dean, when you got there, was Officer Darch in her vehicle still, out of her vehicle, or something else?
She was already out of her vehicle.
And where did you park?
Right behind her on the west side of Mississippi Avenue, facing south.
You just told us the call was on a different street.
Yes, the call was at 1203 East Allen. We were parked at the intersection of Allen and Mississippi, just south of Allen Avenue.
Aaron, why did you park there?
Well, I was meeting up for two reasons. One, I was meeting up with Officer Darch, but we also don't want to park directly in front of a call location.
Why?
Because we don't want to give away our position to a criminal actor who might be on scene. It's for officer safety.
Is there a term or a phrase in Fort Worth, your beat, your sheet?
Yes.
That doesn't equate to your beat, your lead though, does it?
Usually it does.
Darch was already out looking for the address, correct?
She was.
Y'all have worked together before.
We have.
Any issue with that?
Not at all.
Besides, you got the wrong house.
Right.
Did y'all come back to the car, either yours or hers, and figure out what the address should be?
Yes.
From where you're at Mississippi with your cars, because you're parked right next to each other,
Yes.
so you're behind Darch.
Yes.
Where do you and Carol walk next?
We walked across the street from the southwest corner of Allen, Mississippi to the northwest corner of that intersection.
Do you walk on the sidewalks, or how do you go back? What's your training tell you for how you move up to a location?
It depends on the situation. In this case, we walked across the sidewalk until we got to about the property line of 1203, and then we cut across the grass.
Why do you cut across the grass instead of making a turn and going up a driveway or a sidewalk if a house has it?
So that a possible criminal actor inside the house isn't seeing us walk straight up to him, up the front door, up the front porch.
When you're walking up to this location that night, are you using your training and experience to get there?
Yes.
Are you using your sensory perception?
Yes.
What are you seeing, what are you hearing as you walk up?
The street was dark. The residents at 1203 East Allen had, I could see the front door open and light spilling out of that front door. So there were lights on inside. I remember it being quiet. I really don't remember hearing much of anything.
As that house on East Allen sits, the front door faces south, correct?
Yes, it does.
You told us earlier that it's cool and the wind's coming from the north, the cold front that come through.
Yes.
Could you hear anything from across the street at all with the wind the way it was blowing?
Not likely.
You've had a chance to look at the photos that have been admitted, and there is a empty field. If you're facing this address, there's an empty field to the right.
Yes.
You've looked at the street light there in the crime scene photos, and it appears out with some wire wound up high on it.
Yes.
Was that light operational that night when you were out there?
No, it was dark when we got there.
When you, Aaron, when you and Carol walk up to the front door, do you stand right in front of the door?
Not if you can help it,
Why?
because for officer safety.
When you look in, do you look in the front door, the addressable side, the front side of the house?
Yes.
What observations do you make, if any?
I observed that the storm door, the glass door was shut. The inner door was open. Objects were just strewn about inside. I could see kind of straight back to what looked like a dining table, a little living area, and a kitchen. I could see objects just strewn all over the floor. It looked ransacked. It was a mess.
The call details that you have in front of you, I believe one of the lines that the call taker gave dispatch and then ultimately you is that door that you're looking at was never open. Is that correct?
Yes.
What was going through your mind at this point?
That we had a possible burglary at that time.
Did you take steps to record evidence at that point?
Yes, I did.
Explain that to the jury.
Fort Worth police officers are equipped with what's called an Axon Flex 2 camera. It's a body-worn camera. There are several different ways to wear that camera. Some officers get glasses. You can wear it on your shoulder, which is what I did. I had it mounted on my shoulder. and there's a little control pack for it as well. It's a battery and a on-off switch and a record and mute switches. And I carry that on my belt in front of me. So I saw all of these things going on inside and looked down to make sure it was on. It was not, so I flipped it on and started recording.
Aaron, is it a wireless connection from your shoulder to your utility belt?
No,
Is it a cable connection?
it is a cable connection.
So you have a lot of stuff underneath your uniform shirt then. You have a vest plus the wire.
Yes.
What do you do next, Aaron?
We then stepped around to the side door to see more of the house. As I stepped to the side door and took a quick peek at the car that was sitting there, I didn't see anybody in it. I looked through that side door. First, on the door itself, there was some of the frame looked like on the screen was kind of pulled apart. Looking through the door now, I could see more of the living area and more of the kitchen. And again, there were just items just spilled everywhere. Kitchen cabinets and drawers were open, and items all over the counter. It looked like items had been pulled out. It looked like someone had gone through the cabinets and the drawers looking for valuables to steal.
Based on your training under the general orders, how are you supposed to run a Signal 56?
Well, you're supposed to examine the whole structure for signs of forced entry. So you're gonna walk around the structure and look for signs of forced entry.
Tell me about this screen you just mentioned. What do you mean by that it looked like it wasn't intact?
I don't recall noticing much about the screen itself. It's just the frame. It looked like over something around the edge of the frame was just kind of pulled back.
At the base of the door, did you make any other observations?
Yes, I observed a screwdriver laying there and some lawn equipment.
Why would a screwdriver catch your attention on an open structure call?
It could be an implement of burglary, something to pry a door or a screen off with.
What did you and Carol do next, sir?
We continued on around the house because the procedure says we have to inspect the structure. So we continued on towards the back of the house, towards the backyard.
You've been on the streets for approximately a year by yourself at this time, a little over a year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you had time under your field training time to be on the streets with other officers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Prior to the night of October 11th, had you had an occasion to look at what your camera had recorded in the past with you?
Yes.
And you know that your camera that you had on that night was capable of recording audio and video, correct?
Yes.
Did the camera always capture what you saw?
No.
Did the camera always record what you spoke or heard?
No.
For the jury's benefit, the picture of you that night, Officer Darch, I believe, testified last week that y'all are wearing a Motorola handheld radio at some point on your belt, correct?
Yes.
And am I right that it loops behind you and hooks onto the front of your shirt?
Yes.
From that mic that's there in front of you, you could key that with one hand, yes?
Yes.
Does it also have an earpiece that goes back to your ear if you so choose to do that?
Yes.
So any broadcast or any communication, you're really, if somebody's talking to you and the radio might be talking, you're listening with one ear.
Yes.
As you're past the second door at this point, are you and Darch whispering to each other?
Yes. She whispered to me.
Why are you whispering? Why aren't we carrying on a conversation at this level?
Because we don't want to hear we don't want a burglar, a potential burglar, to hear us and attack us.
Do you whisper outside of domestic violence calls when you're standing outside?
Yes.
Why do you do it then?
Two reasons. One, we don't want an actor to attack us. We also don't want someone to hear us and then attack their significant other.
Is there a third reason, maybe to gather intelligence?
Yes.
When you're listening, did you hear anything other than Darch whispering back to you?
I heard something knock, bump. At the time, I wasn't sure what it was.
The call details in front of you say there's 2 vehicles that are in the driveway. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
As a patrol officer, can you just take what you're given for granted and just dismiss the vehicles and focus on the structure itself?
No.
Why not?
Well, we just don't know what's going on there. And, a caller, it's just basic human perception, right? Sometimes we don't always see everything that's going on. Sometimes we make mistakes, but a caller doesn't necessarily know everything that's going on. And they call us out there to go take care of something. And so we need all that information that we can get about what's going on scene in order to make both safe decisions and to make the legal decision, make the proper legal decision.
So how do you have to address those 2 vehicles in the driveway?
We have to clear them. We have to look inside to see if someone's there.
You don't, when you say clear, you don't open them, do you?
No.
How do you look inside?
Just shine a flashlight inside and see if there's someone in there.
Did you do that in this case?
Yes.
Did you and Carol, did you stay together, or what happens at that point? Where are you? Take me through from where you just left the screwdriver in that area. Do you have to step across anything?
Stepped across a weed eater, yes.
You've got to clear these 2 vehicles. That's the discussion you all have.
Yes.
How do you, as a team, go about doing that?
One of us goes down one side, the other one goes down the other side.
Who went left, who went right?
Officer Darch went left and I went right.
What's ahead of you when you get down to the second vehicle?
The detached garage at 1203 East Allen.
Can you tell the members of the jury, because Darch doesn't have her camera on that night, correct?
Yes, correct. That's correct.
Where was Darch as you guys are clearing the vehicle?
Off to my left.
Could you see her?
Yes.
What was the visibility out there for you that night? You talked about it being dark and you've seen your camera. Could you see better than your camera?
Yes, a little.
You get to the detached garage, what do you do next, Aaron?
I took a quick look at the garage door. It didn't seem to be, none of that seemed to be broken into. Then I looked towards the left, towards the gate.
Describe the gate for the members of the jury.
It was a standard privacy fence gate, say 6-ish feet high, hinged on the left with standard off-the-shelf Home Depot hinges and a latch. Again, it just looked like a run-of-the-mill everyday gate.
You're at the gate on the latch side then?
Yes,
Officer Darch is on the hinge side,
yes,
and you have a motor vehicle right there, correct?
correct.
We heard last week from Officer Valderas, we don't know exactly how wide the gate is, do we?
No,
Was it tight quarters right there?
yes,
Part of your training in tactics that are taught by the city of Fort Worth is when you're going into an opening with 2 officers, 2 or more, is there a crossover technique that's taught at the academy?
yes.
Can you explain that to the members of the jury?
The person standing on the left side of the opening goes to the right on the inside, and the person standing to the right of the opening goes to the left on the inside.
Because of your position at the gate, you're going left, Darch is going right.
Yes.
Had you completed your investigation before you opened that gate?
No, we had not.
When you open the gate, take the members of the jury forward from there.
So I opened that gate with my handheld flashlight, took a quick look to the left, and observed the back of the house with a window and an air conditioning unit to the side. The window was pretty much right up against the fence. Quick look to the right just to make sure there was nobody standing there, and then moved on into the left.
Could you sense or feel that your partner, Carol Darch, was coming in and covering your backside?
Yes.
Part of your training, what you're responsible for the left-hand side when you go in. What observations are you making at that point?
As I said, there's a window and the air conditioning to the right and the fence immediately to the left. Was looking at the window to see if it appeared, signs of forced entry. The screen appeared intact, but I leaned down to look for jimmy marks or something like that. And at that point, I also peered inside the window just to see if objects were broken or messed up in there, or if there was someone in there.
Do you have your gun drawn when you go through the gate?
No, I did not.
Do you know if Officer Darch did?
I believe she did, yes.
Is there a reason why she had hers drawn and you didn't?
I can only speak for myself. There's training about doing a general area search, and you don't do that with your weapon out. You do it with your handheld flashlight.
Aaron, when you looked into the window, did anything catch your eye?
Yes.
Can you explain that to the jury?
As I looked through that window, low in the window, I observed a person. Couldn't tell black, white, male, female. I saw the torso horizontal, bent over, horizontal, and could see about this much up on the arm, and then about the same on the leg, just the upper leg to the hip. And the upper arms, I could tell there was movement, like the upper arms were moving, like someone was reaching for something or grasping.
Did this torso, this silhouette, is it okay to use silhouette?
Silhouette, yes.
Were they near the window or away from the window based on what you could see at the time?
Very close to the window.
You've seen your video.
Yes.
Are you able to see into the room where the camera cannot?
Yes.
When you see this silhouette of a torso, would you say it is an adult torso or a juvenile torso?
It was an adult torso.
Aaron, when you see that adult torso at the window, what do you do?
Well, I thought we had a burglar, so I stepped back, straightened up, and drew my weapon, and then pointed it towards the figure. I couldn't see that person's hands, and we're taught that the hands, and it's what's in them that kill. But we need to see the hands. We need to get people to show us our hands and get control of those hands. So I drew my weapon, intending to tell that person to show me their hands.
In your training at the academy and your training at the Fort Worth range, you've gone through a lot of drills to develop what they would call muscle memory. Is that safe to say for officer survival?
Yes.
Is that part of the training curriculum?
Yes.
Why is muscle memory and repetitive action, especially when you're dealing with a level 3 holster, so important to an officer's survival?
Because of the holster safety features that have to be deactivated, and also because police work by its nature is reactive. In other words, we're always responding to something, and we're taught that action always beats reaction, so we often end up behind whatever someone else is doing.
You, at this point, have unholstered your weapon, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a point or a series of frames on your video where the video just goes dark at this point?
Yes.
Why did the video just go dark if you know? Where does your light source go?
I think my thumb came off of my switch on my handheld light because I had it in the momentary position, and that was before I got my weapon light on.
Back to that muscle memory, is there a sequence that you're taught on how to unholster that weapon and turn the rail light system on that's approved?
Yes.
Can you explain that to the members of the jury?
You're supposed to turn that weapon mounted light on with your offhand.
You just demonstrated some stuff in the courtroom. Would it be easier to show the members of the jury?
Probably, yes.
May I approach her?
Yes, sir.
Do you need me to stand?
No, not yet. Aaron, I've just handed you a flashlight. It's a stream light, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that your stream light?
Yes, it is.
And is that a rechargeable light that officers are allowed to carry?
Yes.
Now, does that stream light have several different buttons on it?
Yes.
It has two, does it not?
It has one.
Okay, yours is only on in the back?
Yes.
That button has a couple of different functions in, is that correct?
Yes, it does.
What do you mean by momentary on? And if you would, if you're gonna just energize it, point it toward the judge's smartboard. What do you mean by momentary on?
Momentary means you slightly depress it and it only comes on for a moment. If you let the pressure off, it comes off. It turns off.
And is there a way to click it and turn it all the way on?
Yes.
Okay. When you were going around, if the jury looks at the exhibit again, the video, when you shine your light on and off, that's you toggling the back of that light with your left hand?
Yes.
You mentioned an offhand. Is there a primary hand for your firearm at the academy?
Yes.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So that would be your firearm hand, your right hand, correct?
Yes.
So your offhand would be the one that your stream light that you just showed the jury against the judge's smartboard?
Yes.
And how are you taught to turn on the light system? If it were on my rubber gun here, how are you taught to turn on the light system here?
To use this hand to do it.
So if I have this, if I have your flashlight in my left hand, how am I supposed to, what are you supposed to do if the flashlight's not in my hand? Is there a switch on your rail light?
Yes.
Is it like a flapper switch that comes down?
Yes.
Is it on both sides?
Yes, it is.
Were you able to turn it on the left-hand side?
I was not.
How did you turn on your light's on from the video. How did you turn it on?
Once I realized I wasn't able to get it on with my offhand, I reached up with my trigger finger and flipped it on.
Explain that to me.
Well, since it rocks on both sides, I came up, was trying to get it on, it wouldn't come on, and so I just reached up. I keep my trigger finger off the trigger until I'm ready to shoot anyway, so it would have been up on the frame of the weapon, and then just reached and flipped that light switch on.
When both of the lights came on, were you able to see more depth of field inside that room?
Depth of field meaning into the room? No, I really only saw it up close. I really didn't see much back in the room.
Did the silhouette to you, Aaron, in your eyes take up most of the window?
Yes.
I think you told the jury you've taken a step back. You've unholstered your weapon. What are you doing at this point?
Well, as I said, I needed to see that person's hands, because the hands carry weapons. The hands are the threat to us. So I looked back after I got my light on, saw the silhouette again, and I was shouting at this time, shouting commands. Put up your hands. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. And as I started to get that second phrase out, show me your hands, I saw the silhouette. I was looking right down the barrel of a gun. And when I saw the barrel of that gun pointed at me, I fired a single shot from my duty weapon. And immediately had the flash from the muzzle reflecting off the window. And of course, as my weapon recoiled, the light was bouncing back in my face, so I couldn't see. When my vision cleared, then I observed the person that we now know as Miss Jefferson. I heard her scream and saw her fall like this. And I knew that I'd shot that person.
Aaron, when you first picked up this firearm pointed at you, how close to the window were you?
Picked up, you mean saw?
Yes, sir.
Visually picked up. Very close. Not any more than arm's length.
This may be an obvious question, but I need to ask it. You see the weapon. Is it in the silhouette's hand? What do you see?
I just saw the silhouette of the person and the gun. I don't recall seeing hands, but I did see that weapon pointed at me.
You're not saying the gun's on the floor.
No, the gun was pointed directly at me.
And about how high up on the silhouette was the gun in your mind when you're looking at this?
Maybe mid-chest, I'm not sure.
You have your city-issued firearm out at this point. Is that true?
Yes.
You're giving or in the process of giving commands. Why didn't you let the commands finish out?
Because we're taught to meet deadly force with deadly force. We're not taught that we have to wait. Anytime we have a threat of deadly force, we can use deadly force to defend ourselves or someone else from that threat of deadly force.
Where's Carol at this point when you discharge your weapon?
She was directly behind me.
What happened next in your mind,
I heard Officer Darch call out, "Shots fired," just like you're supposed to. And I started to call out as well. Baker 325, shots fired, shots fired. Started supervisor and in MedStar code, I wanted medical attention there immediately. I turned to run around to start giving medical aid and get inside this house. And I thought, wait a second, I still don't know. All I've seen is a person. I don't know anything else about what's going on in that room. So I ran back up to the window to see if I could see anything else. I observed the person, obviously we now know it's Miss Jefferson, laying face down on the floor. And I really couldn't see anything else in the room. And Officer Darch said, "We got to get in there, we got to get in there." And I said, "Yeah." And I tried to even jerk at the window just to get right inside. But it wouldn't come up. So we started running around the house, through the gate and around.
Aaron, when you get back to the front door that's never open, is that the door you go in?
Yes.
At this point, at the academy, when you're at the range, are you wearing ear protection?
Yes.
Discharge of the weapon is a loud event, would you agree?
Yes.
When you're under a lot of stress, there's what's called auditory exclusion as well,
Yes.
and you're trained on that at the academy, correct?
We are.
That's hard to simulate at the academy, would you agree?
It is.
And did you make any observations about yourself at that point? Can you hear what's going on around you?
I could hear people on the radio in my ear, but I don't remember hearing anything else.
You and Aaron, you and Carol have to still clear that house because you don't know what you have, correct?
Yes.
Is your investigation complete at that point?
No, it's not.
What do you do next, Aaron?
Well, at the gate, I asked her if she had one of the TAC med bags. She said she didn't, so I started making plans to find objects in the room to start rendering emergency aid until MedStar got there. And at that point, the radio's just blowing up, and they're asking me questions, and people are saying they're coming, and I'm trying to respond, and we get to the door, and dispatch asked me some other question, and I started to try to respond, and I was like, forget it, we got to go. We got to get inside this house and see what else is going on there, and render aid to this person. So we get inside, and I let the radio go, and we start shouting commands and fast clearing, which is just looking just as fast as we can, but safely moving through and observing into each of the rooms and the halls and everything, just to see if there's somebody there. And we got to that back bedroom. And as we moved through the house, all of the rooms, they were all a mess. Everything was a mess in that house. Just objects everywhere. Objects all over the floor, all over the furniture. It looked trashed. It looked like somebody had just gone through everything. And I get to that back bedroom. And off to my right, I see a kid. Of course, we know it's Zion. And I'm thinking, who brings a kid to a burglary? What is going on? I see a dog. And at that point, I was just like, never mind. Forget what else. You've got Darce. Just shut up and work. Shut up and work. Get the weapon. Render aid to her. Get the weapon. Render aid to the person. And I remember going over to the person laying on the floor and saw the weapon between her feet. And I remember putting my gloves on and then picking up the weapon. And at this point, I could hear Officer Darch saying something to Zion. Of course, we now know from the video, he says, I don't want to go to jail. And she tells him, don't worry, you're not going to jail. Of course, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, Judge. I didn't actually hear all that at the time. Just processing everything.
And there was talk last week when Carol was here testifying that she had an attorney named Terry Daffron. You know Terry.
Yes,
And as part of your training at the academy, Ms. Daffron came and lectured y'all.
yes,
As part of the faculty that came and taught you.
yes,
And she gave recommendations for how to handle and not handle evidence in a scene, correct?
correct,
She told you not to touch anything.
correct.
Your instructors are the final word, though, on your training, correct?
They are.
In your survival week training, did you get yelled at for not removing the weapon from a suspect that was down?
I did.
That have a lasting impression on you of what you're supposed to do for officer safety?
Yes, it did.
What are you trained to do to get weapons away from anyone?
Just to move that weapon away from the person, from any person,
Prior to doing anything else?
prior to doing anything else.
You locate this weapon. Is it a firearm?
Yes,
You locate it near Miss Jefferson's feet.
yes.
And I believe you, what do you do with it at that point?
I picked it up just to move it away from her, and as I picked it up, I saw a green laser tracing across the white wall. And
Is
Yeah.
that your concern at that point, though?
no, I'm just getting it away from that person.
You know from what's blowing up in your ear, because we can't hear the radio traffic as it sits on your body-worn camera, that the cavalry is coming behind you.
Yes,
What precautions, how are you trained to render first aid? You're not a paramedic, correct?
correct.
Are you a basic EMT?
No.
What sort of first aid have you had in the academy?
CPR and then bleed stoppage on bullet wounds and knife wounds.
There's discussion on the video, your video,
Hmm.
about a trauma kit. Is that, am I using the proper term?
Yes,
A week or so prior to October 11th, did your trauma kit come up missing in your patrol vehicle in the shift?
yes,
Did you put a request in for a new one?
yes. That Monday I had sent an email request, so this was Friday, but that Monday, yes, I'd put in a replacement request.
From having watched your video, the two officers that come in behind you that have a little bit more advanced training, they have one of the kits with them, correct?
Yes.
How is time in your perception at this point?
Things are unfolding very, very rapidly.
Why do you put gloves on?
Officer safety, it's protection from, any pathogens or anything like that.
Is that how you're trained at the academy to handle fluids?
Yes, it is.
And you know that you shot this lady,
Yes,
and you've done a visual exam, and you know she's gravely wounded.
yes,
At the time that you're in the room, when you enter the room, what is the lighting condition inside the room, other than your flashlight?
there was a pair of computer monitors on a desk to the left, and then there's a television up on a shelf of some sort to the right.
Lighting for the room only comes on when the additional units come in, is that correct?
Correct.
Is part of your training at the academy, officers that are involved inside the critical incident themselves are usually moved away by the additional units, is that safe to say?
Yes,
You're told to politely move out of the way. They're very frank with you. You recall that?
Yes.
And they get on to tending to Miss Jefferson.
Yes.
Had, at that point, you're the one with knowledge of the weapon found at Miss Jefferson's feet, correct?
Yes.
Had you rendered that weapon safe yet?
No, not yet.
What does it mean to render a weapon safe?
To remove any ammunition from that weapon. So on a semi-automatic pistol such as that, you're going to remove the magazine and remove any live rounds in the chamber.
You were proficient on October 11th into the 12th on how a semi-automatic handgun worked, correct?
Yes.
Were you able to make any observations as to the cartridge setup on that gun that was at Miss Jefferson's feet?
Yes, it had a magazine inserted into the magazine well, and it had one round in the chamber.
And were you able to clear that round from the chamber?
Yes.
The state last week offered some exhibits of the gun as is, I believe, by the front door. You didn't place the gun at the front door, did you?
No.
On video, do you recall seeing you hand the gun, the magazine, and a live round to another officer?
Yes.
Do you recall that officer's name?
Officer Gilbert.
When you're in the hallway outside the room where Miss Jefferson and Mr. Carr were, you're observed on your body worn trying to deactivate a laser system on the weapon. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Though Streamlight made your light system, and they made her light system, they activate differently, correct?
Yes.
If I understand, where yours has a paddle, hers had buttons on either side. Do you recall that?
Some sort of a button switch, yes.
Were you able ultimately to get the laser off that night?
Yes, I fiddled around with it till I found the switch and turned it off.
Are you had a sergeant that night for your beat in Central, correct?
Yes.
That Sergeant Horner?
Yes.
Any doubt that who's in charge at that scene once she gets there?
No.
She takes you and buddies you up with somebody. What's that all about?
That's for two reasons. One, it's preservation of evidence. You sit in a car and you don't talk to anybody. You're put with another officer for your mental care. It's a traumatic event, shooting someone, and over the years, departments across the U.S. have discovered that it's a better practice not to just shut an officer alone in a car. So they put someone with them, and you talk about sports, you talk about food, you talk about your family, you talk about anything and everything but the incident.
At some point, you're there at the scene in this car with this buddy for a long period of time.
Yes.
Who was the officer?
Officer Fuller.
Chief Krause came out, talked to you, asked you how you're doing.
Yes.
Other command staff came out and checked on you.
Yes.
At some point, are you directed, and Officer Fuller drive you to 1000 Calvert, the old training academy,
Yes.
just over here on the other side of the river?
Yes.
Is that where Major Case is?
Yes.
Prior to getting to Major Case, had a lieutenant from your patrol division taken your particular camera from you?
Yes.
Can you explain that to the members of the jury?
Lieutenant Halford came and got my body camera, just the camera unit itself that unplugs from the cable, and that he took it back to the sector to put it on the dock, which is both the battery charging unit and the data streaming unit, and he wanted to get that data captured right away. He wanted that video uploaded right away.
So if in an audit trail it shows where it was uploaded, that's how it came to be uploaded at that particular time and date.
Yes.
The camera that you're wearing in the picture then, that's before you in evidence,
Yes.
is that your camera or it's one that's identical to yours in the photo?
It's an identical one from another officer.
The pictures to reflect how you looked when you were there at the scene, correct?
Yes.
When, is it Detective Roloff, did he take your weapon that's now in evidence from you that night? Or was he present?
I don't recall if it was Detective Roloff or if it was Officer Dumick, the crime scene officer. I don't recall now.
Were you issued another weapon that night?
Yes.
Aaron, when you look at the scene itself and you look at the window, I want to take you back there for a second if you're okay with that. When you look at the weapon in the window, the silhouette, could you tell if it were, and you may have already answered this, a male or a female, or you didn't know?
I didn't know.
You didn't know if it was a male or a female. Could you tell if it was what race or skin tone the individual had?
No.
In your vision, from what you recall that night, how close was this firearm to you on the inside of the glass?
Very close to the window.
6 feet, 2 feet, a foot?
A foot or less.
You went home from your shift on the 12th. You go on administrative leave because you've been involved in a shooting, correct?
Yes.
When you took your uniform off on the 12th, you understand that was the last time you were going to be a peace officer anywhere in this United States, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Let's take our morning break before we do cross-examination. You'll retire to your jury room. We'll call you back out in just a few minutes.